Hi, this is Tom, and this is the second part of lesson 13. And what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to turn the problem around. In the first lesson, we found what is the percentile rank of a value. Well, what if you want to change that and find out what value corresponds to a certain percentile? And the reason that you might most often want to know this, for example, is suppose that you are trying to qualify for something, and everyone takes the same test, but they don't pick you based on your test score. They choose you based on how you compare to the rest of the people that took that test at that time. So, for example, they may take only the top 20 people, or I'm sorry, the top 20% of the people. In other words, you need to be in the 80th percentile or above to qualify. So there's 3 steps for doing this, and the first one is this. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to, as I've written here, we're going to find the data value x that corresponds to a given percentile. The first step is to arrange the data. Oops, there we go, that looks much better. Arrange the data in ascending order. That's one. Number 2 is find C equals N times P divided by 100, where N, we know that's the number of data, so N is number of data in set. P is the percentile. And let's do this. And C is the position of the data value. And we'll see how that works in a moment. C is the position of the data value. Now, here's where we have an option. Step 3, we'll call it 3A. 3A says this. It says that if C is not a whole number, round up. Round up. Choose the x in the C position. Okay, and so if C is a whole number, well, that's 3b. 3b says that if C is a whole number, let's see, choose or find the midpoint, between the C and C plus 1 position. Okay, so we're going to be scrolling back and forth a bit, and we're going to refer to that list again. But let's try it. Let's do this. So our first example, we'll do this. We'll call it example 1. Example 1 is what value corresponds how about corresponds to the 70th percentile. 70th percentile. All right, let's try this question. All right, I've just brought down the data set from up above, and notice that step 1 was arrange the data in ascending order. This was my step 1, and that pink doesn't show up very well. Let's try yellow. And notice that I've already done that. So step one we've already accomplished. So let's do this. So step one, that one's done. Step 2 is c equals np divided by 100. C equals n. So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We still have 12 values, so n is 12. And now, since we're looking for the 70th percentile, we don't have to change it back to a decimal. We just use the 70. We take that result, we divide it by 100. So 12 times 70, that's 840. And if we divide it by 100, we come up with 8.4. So now let's look up above and see what we're supposed to do with 8.4. Excuse me. It says if c is not a whole number, not a whole number, round up. Well, c in our case is not a whole number, it's a decimal. So what we want to do is we're going to use c equals 9. Now, let's just be clear here. This is what the c's are. So these are my x's right here, the data values. The c's are the position of the data value in the list. So 5 is in the first position. 6 is in the second position. 8 is in the third position. 10 in the fourth, and so on. And let's just continue this all the way through. 15 is in the 6th position, 7th position, 8th position, 9th position, and there it is. But we'll finish this. We have 10, 11, and 12. So because 22 here is in the 9th position, what we would say then is, so this was step 3a, we would say that we would say 22 corresponds, that's supposed to be an R, corresponds to the 70th percentile. Now, let's try one more. Let's try, oh, I have an idea. Let's try something we already know the answer to and see if this works. So for example 2, let's say ask what value corresponds to the 75th percentile. Now, we already know the answer because the 75th percentile was also Q3, but let's just see if this process works like we would expect. So we'll check our answer in a moment, but let's just proceed. So step 1 is arrange the data in ascending order, and that's already done. So I'll just put done. Okay, step 2 says we need to calculate C. So n again is 12 times P, this time is 75, and we're going to divide that by 100, which, well, if you're not sure, oh, let me think about that. That's, you know what, if you don't know, what you should do is go to your good grapher or your TI-84, and let's type in 12, and we'll go times 75, and then we'll divide it by 100, and let's see what we get. 9. We get an answer of 9. So let's go back to what we were up to. So this C is C equals 9. Now go back to the directions, and it says if C is not a whole number, well, RC is a whole number. So look at 3b. 3b here, 3b says if C is a whole number, well, C is a whole number. So it says find the midpoint between C and C plus 1 position. All right, well, let's try that. So if I come down here, then we'll do this in a different color here. So notice that here is C equals 9 right here. And here is C equals, or C plus 1. which is 10. In other words, I need to find the midpoint of 22 and 25. So for this problem then, step 3b says that we need to find the midpoint of 22 and 25. So let's try that way. That gives me 22 plus 25. I'll put that in parentheses, and we'll divide that by 2. Well, that's 47 divided by 2, which gives us a value of 23.5. And so we would conclude by saying 23.5 corresponds to the 75th percentile. And that is how we find our percentile rank. Thanks for watching.